context of our discussion tonight will be the 7 pillars of Catholic spirituality. Are you ready? Yeah, I don't know if you are. 7 pillars of Catholic spirituality. Number 1, confession. I know how you feel. I know what you think. I know what people say. I know all the emotions and the resistance and all of that goes along with just the word confession. Heard all the excuses. I've got some favorites, of course, that I like to hear from time to time. You know, people say to me, "Oh, I can't go to confession." I say, "Why not?" They say, "Because my priest, he knows me." Funny, I thought that was the idea, but what's the problem with that? They say, "Well, if he knew my sins, he would never talk to me ever again." Don't kid yourself. You're not that original. It's not like you're going to tell him anything he hasn't heard. I say to them, "Well, can't you go behind the screen?" They say, "Yeah, but even if I go behind the screen, he knows my voice." Try confessing in an Australian accent. See how that works for you. You know, then we've got a culture out there that says you don't need to go to confession. Our culture tells us you don't need to go to confession because our culture tells us sin and evil don't really exist. Our culture tells us sin and evil were invented by the church to control people, to manipulate people. If you believe that, seriously, if you believe that sin and evil don't exist, please go home tonight and watch your 10 o'clock news. Having watched your 10 o'clock news tonight, if you still believe that sin and evil don't exist, seek professional help. Because sin and evil, they're real in our lives. They're real in the world. And it would be lovely, wouldn't it? It'd be lovely if we could just gather up all the evil people and drop them on an island. I mean, just gather up all the evil people, put them together on one island, and just let them have at it. Let them, like, self-destruct. The only problem with that is that doesn't work. You know, they tried that once. Yeah, down in Australia. And the reason we can't just gather up all the evil people and drop them on an island and let them self-destruct is because there is a line that separates good from evil. There is a line, but it isn't out there somewhere. The line that separates good from evil is cast down the center of my heart and the center of your heart. The battle's not out there. The battle's in here. And that's why we just can't gather up all the evil people and drop them on an island. Here in America, we got 4 million people incarcerated in America. 4 million people. The battle's not out there. The battle's in here. We got another group of people who say, "Well, I don't need to go to confession to a priest." I got lots of friends like that, Catholics and non-Catholics. They say, "I confess to God, but I don't need to go to confession to a priest." I say, "Well, why not?" They say, "Because me and Jesus, we're mates. We're buddies. We're tight. We're friends. We're close. I just tell Jesus my stuff and he forgives me." It's a nice idea, isn't it? I mean, really, when you think about it, lovely idea. Only problem with that one is it doesn't work. You know why? Because you and me, we're human beings. And as human beings, we have a phenomenal ability to deceive ourselves. Yes or yes? Yes. Oh yeah. We can convince ourselves of all sorts of crazy stuff. That's why this me and Jesus thing doesn't work. That's why Jesus didn't set it up that way to begin with. You see, when Jesus instituted the sacrament of confession, he wasn't doing it to give you one more thing to do. He wasn't doing it to strike a blow at your self-esteem or to make you feel guilty or bad about yourself or shameful of any of those things. When Jesus instituted the sacrament of confession, he was acting as the divine psychologist. Why? Because we all have a great need to confess. Every single one of us. Because every single one of us, every single day, we do things that stop us from becoming the best version of ourselves. Yes or yes? Yes. Every single day we do these things that stop us from becoming the best, and then we carry all that stuff around with us everywhere we go. We take it to work, we take it home in a family, we take it to our marriage, we pass it to our kids, we carry all that stuff around with us. And if you think you can carry all that stuff around with you and it's not affecting you physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and psychologically, if you think you can carry all that stuff around with you and it's not affecting you, then you're either the king or the queen of La La Land. Because it's real. We do things that affect us deeply, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and psychologically. And then we carry all that stuff. The genius of Catholicism, just one glimpse of the genius of Catholicism is what? God gives us the outlet. He put us down and he said, these people are going to stuff this up. We better give them an outlet so that we can heal them, so that we can make them whole, so that we can give them renewal in their spiritual life. There's genius in Catholicism. There is genius. If we just delve into it a little bit, there's genius in Catholicism. Truth is, we all have a great need to confess. Every single one of us. Not for God's sake, for our sake. Not to help Him, to help us. You see, if everything makes sense in relation to God's dream for us, to become the best version of ourselves, confession does as well. What happens in confession? You get two visions. The vision of the person you are right now, and the vision of the person you're capable of becoming. You all know what the best version of you looks like. It's not like I have to force it on you. A little child comes to you, 5 years old, 6 years old, and that child says, can I do this? Or can I have this? And you ask that child, is that going to help you become the best version of yourself? They know instantly. If they are old enough to understand the concept, they know instantly. You don't have to force the concept on them. It's already in them. God's dream is in us already. He's placed it deep within us. All we have to do is draw it out. What happens in confession? Two visions. Vision of the person we are, vision of the person we're capable of becoming. And in seeing those two things at one time, we're automatically challenged to change and to grow, to develop, to strive after and celebrate that best version of ourselves. And we're given the grace, the strength, the wisdom, the courage to go out and defend that best version of ourselves. There's genius in Catholicism. Genius. Let me ask you a question. How many people drive a car? Raise your hand if you drive a car. You drive a car? Yeah? All right. Let me ask you another question. Raise your hand if you literally have not washed your car or had your car washed in, say, 10 years. No? No. We like to wash our cars every 5 years or so, don't we? You know, and you take your car to get it washed and it's all clean on the inside. It's all clean on the outside. You feel pretty good about that. Yes or yes? Yes. And you're driving down the road, you just got your car washed. What do you pray? You pray it doesn't rain. You just got your car washed. Like God doesn't have better things to worry about. Well, let me think about it. Hold on. We got 50,000 people dying in Africa every day from extreme poverty and preventable diseases, but you just got your $9 car wash and you want that at the top of his list. Yeah, I see. Next day you're driving down the road, there's a big pile of mud in the middle of the road. What do? You go around it. You just got your car washed. Next day you're going somewhere, you think to yourself, gee, it might get cold later, I better take a jacket. As it turns out, you don't need the jacket. So you say to yourself, I'll put this jacket neatly on the back seat. I'll get it later. Do you get it later? No. A couple of days after that, you're going somewhere, you think to yourself, I got to go to the doctor today. I better take a couple of magazines. I mean, let's face it, they never have any good magazines at the doctor's anyway. Besides, let me ask you a question. What sort of people go to the doctor? Sick people, exactly. Sick people go to the doctor, and then we put them all in this little room. We give them 6 magazines, and they touch those 6 magazines with their sick fingers, you know? And then you come to the doctors. You sit in the waiting room, you pick up that magazine, and the cover says, February 1983. You think to yourself, hold on a minute, how many sick people have been here since February 1983? Thanks, I'll bring my own magazines. You bring your own magazines, you get done with the doctor, you say to yourself, I'll put these magazines neatly on the back seat. I'll get it later. Later when? Later when you get the jacket. Do you get it later? No. A couple of days after that, you're going somewhere, you think to yourself, gee, it's getting late. I got to get to that Matthew Kelly talk. I better go through the drive-thru. I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to eat again. So you go through the drive-thru, you get whatever it is you get when you go through the drive-thru. Now you're driving. And you're eating, and you're on your cell phone, so you're steering with your knees. You're steering with those knees. You get done with your dinner, you say to yourself, I won't put this trash on the back seat. I just got my car cleaned. So you get all the trash, and you stuff it back in the bag it came in. You know, you crunch it up really tight. You say to yourself, I'll put this trash neatly on the floor in the back seat. I'll get it later. You don't get it later, and a couple of days after that, another little bit of junk goes back, and a couple of days after that, another little bit of trash goes back there. Before you know it, it's Sunday, and you're coming home from church, and what have you got now? You got the bulletin. Yeah. Yeah, you got the bulletin, which you probably read while Father was giving his homily, didn't you? He sees that from up here. We see everything from up here. You think he doesn't see you reading that bulletin down there? You think to yourself, gee, I already read this thing. I'll chuck it back there in the back seat. I'll get it later. Do you get it later? No. A couple of days after that, another little bit of trash. A couple of days after that, another little bit of junk. Before you know it, you're throwing big bits of junk back there. You know why? Because a big bit of junk doesn't look that bad amongst all those little bits of junk now, does it? We lose our sensitivity to sin in exactly the same way. Because after a while, a big self-destructive behavior doesn't look that bad amongst all those little ones, does it? That's how it works. You go to confession, you just come out of confession, you're sensitive about the things that stop you from becoming the best version of yourself. Yes or yes? Yes. You have that sensitivity. Just like when you wash your car, you're sensitive about the things that make your car dirty. I don't know how long it takes for you to run off. For me, after about a month, it's worn off for sure. For me, I got to go to confession once a month because it returns that sensitivity. It reminds me of the things that help me become the best version of myself. And that's a powerful tool to me. It's a powerful tool. I love that. It helps me become the best. I just love the people in my life who help me become the best version of myself. It's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Genius in Catholicism. How about this? What if you were only allowed to wash your car on the way home from confession? Father could come each Sunday. Father could take a walk in the parking lot before Mass and assess the spiritual condition of his people. There's genius in Catholicism. I know lots of people haven't been a long time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Get there. There's genius there. It brings peace to us, makes us whole, allows us to see things as they really are, gives us the strength, the grace, the courage, the wisdom to go out again and celebrate the best version of ourselves and defend the best version of ourselves. Powerful stuff. But you've got to approach it, keeping in mind, it's there to help you become the best version of yourself. You've got to come into it and understand the priest's job to help you become the best version of yourself, to help you become all God's created you to be. There's genius in Catholicism. 7 pillars. Number 1, confession. Number 2, contemplation.